Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.
Wishful thinking will never get you what you want. Taking control of your finances, setting goals, planning objectives, planning timelines, all these are necessary to achieve financial independence, and that's where we come in to help you achieve that objective. Hello and welcome to NSE FinWiz, powered by CNBC TV 18. I'm your host Gautam Srinivasan, and this quest of learning more about financial planning, today we are at the campus of one of the leading global IT players, KPIT.
Founded in 1990, KPIT is today a leader in technology solutions and services. Leveraging its technology prowess, KPIT has partnered with over 200 global corporations with an aim to co-create transformational value that provides sustainable competitive advantage to business. NSE FinWiz, with its theme Dream On, engaged with employees of KPIT in Mumbai to understand their notions on financial planning and to educate them to plan their finances better.
According to me, financial literacy is the knowledge about the risk and rewards associated with your investments.
I would like to ask the experts that when we go out to review and buy any of the plans that are there in the market, how do I differentiate between what is good and bad? Given the current stage, what is the ideal plan for a middle class family, and how can I differentiate between the good, not so good, with a low and a medium risk appetite?
To experts, I want to ask, how do I save money? I want to leave my life current as it is, but at the same time I want to save money for future. And I do go for conventional ways, but modern ways, they look a bit complicated and it's difficult to understand what to do and when to do and how to do.
Welcome to NSE FinWiz, powered by CNBC TV 18. We're here to discuss financial planning and wealth creation. The theme of discussion today is the power of compounding, and to share their insights on the topic, we have with us experts on personal finance, Gaurav Mashruwala and Harsh Rungta. And of course, we have the audience here for professionals who work at KPIT who will be engaging with our experts on this topic. So let's jump into the topic, Mr. Rungta. Time is your biggest asset when we talk about the power of compounding. So tell us more about how the benefits of early saving can translate to a large return for our audience here.
For somebody, say, who starts investing from the day he joins the workforce, which means, let's say he has roughly 30 years to invest, and there is a certain amount that he wants, and therefore he works out a figure. If he just delays it by 5 years, literally the amount goes up to get the same at the end of 30 years. Just by delaying it by 5 years, the amount would go up by as much as 30% or 30. And more he delays, more and more that amount would go up, return remaining the same. So I think that really is the power of early start. When you start early, you just need to take smaller steps to reach the same destination.
Absolutely. From an investment option perspective, equity mutual funds allows you to do more to harness the power of compounding.
Absolutely. It gives you the diversification. Because if you have to choose the shares yourself, right? You may not be best equipped. You give it over to a professional fund manager, and that professional fund manager is able to take care of changing those equity at appropriate points of time. The other big thing, which is a disadvantage with the equity mutual funds, okay, is that they publish the prices every day, okay, and invariably you will find that although over long periods they give you superb returns, during the period there is more than 90% chance that in the first 4 or 5 years, you will see a situation where you are not even recovering what you had put in, right? If you are prepared to accept that, because you need the money only after a long period. That will lead to riches. So I think staying the course.
In this situation, when you hear about so much uncertainty, and then you keep wondering, because you have to stay invested for the long run, and we are talking 10 years, 15 years. How do you build a disciplined approach to investing so that even if these doubts arise, you still know that you are on the right course? What are some of the tips you would like to share with the audience members here at KPIT on how to build a disciplined approach to investing?
Stop looking at whatever statement you get from wherever you get it. From your mutual fund house, from your equity share broker, wherever you get that statement, stop looking at those prices. So the point is, please, when you get in itself, get in with the right expectation. And I think doing your research to get convinced that whatever I have told you, that invariably during the journey, your principal, you will be minus on your principal. That is what the past data suggests, right? That at some point of time in that journey, even your principal will not be recovered. But if your journey is long enough, 8 or 10 years, then invariably in the past you have ended up getting good returns.
All right, on that note, we'll take a short break. When we return, we'll be discussing in detail about the power of compounding from a financial planning perspective. Stay tuned to CNBC TV 18. Welcome back. You're watching NSE FinWiz, powered by CNBC TV 18. The theme of discussion today is the power of compounding. So let's dive right in again on that topic. The power of compounding, we have discussed a whole lot of facets. What's your input on this, Gaurav? What would you like to tell the audience about the power of compounding when it comes to their investment?
If you look at the future value calculation or the compound interest, what happens is that it's principal into 1r raised to n. Now, R is rate of return, N is number of years. People keep continuously focusing on rate of returns, but if you look at it, the actual number is larger the N, the number of years, which means more the compounding. So instead of focusing on R, focus on N or T, and that's what will give you more. Longer the tenure, better off you are. Simple mathematical formula which we learned in 5th or 6th standard.
If somebody feels that, okay, I'm 40 or 42 and I have not even begun to think about, investing seriously in terms of talking with a financial planner, outlining, what I need to do, something which I should have started, say, when I was 24, 25 or 26. What would you tell them to reassure them that they can still, make it in a certain way in terms of aligning their investments to whatever goals that they have left?
Specific investment, specific goal. The moment you start getting focused, you will start seeing the progress. Be specific, link your goals and link your investments. Take a selfie. When all of us have this, take a selfie with your spouse or with your family. List down your goals and then start naming for each goal, each investment, specific investment plan. You will start channelizing your resources towards your goals. The moment you give direction, it will be easier for you.
All right. And since we're talking about financial planning, somewhere I need to mention taxes as well. Minimizing the impact of taxes on one's portfolio growth. What would you advise to our audience here, Gaurav?
That's what creates problem. People live tax season to tax season. Focus on your goals. The Income Tax Act is so brilliantly drafted that you enacted, that you focus on each and every goals of yours and there is tax saving. Could it be house buying? Could it be life saving? Could it be paying health insurance? Children's education, higher education, you take a loan, retirement plans, long-term goal, you have ELSS, short-term goals, you want debt instruments, there are so many debt instruments. There are so many products that are available, each with tax benefit. The problem is that we have our goals somewhere else, we have tax saving somewhere else, we have investment somewhere else.
What are some of the ways you could advise people as to when this emergent need for funds come? How can they still stay the course?
If you have planned properly, there would be a contingency plan that you would have put in place. There should be minimum 3 to 6 months. I would say, 3, some people say 6, because the point is, if you put it in a contingency fund, it has a lower return. So it is detracting from your investment objectives, but it is precisely to guard against the current and uncertain environment that you need the contingency fund. So I think the situation like this should not arise, because if the risk is such that it can be insured, medical, etc., then it should have been ensured in the first place.
All right. And Gaurav, what would you advise to the audience in terms of risk management? How should they go about risk management when it becomes incumbent on them to raise their risk appetite to generate the returns that they envisage, but in a tempered economic environment? So what is some of the risk management, checklist that you would advise to them then?
If you are saving for a financial goal which is 7 to 10 years away, equity is an asset class, and you need to get into either do a direct equity if you have skills and times, or get into equity mutual fund, because longer the tenure, risk in equity is less. If you are saving for something which is 2 to 3 years away, equity cannot be an asset class, whether equity fund or a equity portfolio. Then debt-based instruments is your option. For an interim period, it has to be a combination. Moment you start linking your goals to your investments, you will be able to say which is a less riskier product, which is more riskier product for that tenure.
All right. It's time now to get some members of the audience to list the goals that they have in mind and see what our experts advise in terms of the time horizon that they have and the savings that they can accrue. So the first member of the audience that I will call out is Rahul Dere, if you could get up.
Which one I should trust, investing in the property or SIP, which is based on the market?
Something, the problem with or the shortfall of real estate market is that there is no transparency, and there is no ticker that flashes into your eyes every day or every second which says that your particular script or NAV has gone up or gone down. Nobody tells you that particular property that you bought every day how much it's going up or down, and hence mentally we feel comfortable. Both can go up, both can come down. It's more to do with start linking it to your goal. Also, equity as an asset class, so equity fund over a longer tenure probably has much more chances of growing than real estate property, number 2. Number 3, it's easier to maneuver. One single plot of land or a house, if that area is not performing, you can't just knock off one bedroom and say baki ka rakh liya. Here you can knock off fund, here you can partly redeem that fund. If a new option comes up, which government comes up with new products or market comes up, there is an evolution, you have so much more flexibility. You're talking about a 15, 20 year. Why do you want to tie your hands down?
The next question comes from Mr. Kunal Gajanan Malode. If you could get up.
I have invested some amount in equity, ELSS mutual fund in 2013-14. So I just tracked my fund somewhere after 1 year. I got the return of somewhere around 36% in that. But after 2 years, it has been gradually gone down somewhere around 15 to 16% I am getting. So if we say the compounding will definitely help us, but in this case, I don't think so compounding has given me that kind of achievement, sir. So can you throw some light on it?
Give it enough time, okay? Returns on equity, if you are able to get 15% over the long run. So a player is good if he has an average above a half a century. Any return above 12%, okay, is superb.
All right. On that note, we'll take another short break. When we return, the floor is open to the members of the audience here at KPIT to ask our experts their queries on financial planning. The topic of today's discussion is of course, the power of compounding. So stay tuned to CNBC TV 18. Welcome back to NSE FinWiz, powered by CNBC TV 18. We've been discussing the power of compounding, and now we open the floor to the members of the audience to ask any questions that they have to our panel of experts. So let's go ahead with a show of hands. Who has a question?
For a layman, when they start investing in mutual funds or even during the course of investment, how do they choose which is a good, which is not so good?
There are a lot of rating agencies which would rate. But the most important principle that you have to keep in mind is winners rotate. Okay, so it's not going to be same funds winning all the time. Typically, once you have decided your goals, I already spoke about it in the earlier segment as to then you would know which kind of fund, whether you want an equity fund, debt fund or a fund. So that's taken care of. Assume it's an equity fund that you are looking at. If you have skills and time, and if you have both, only skills, no time, don't get into it. If it's an equity fund, start with what is called as an index fund, a fund which will replicate a Nifty or any other index, and just ensure it has least of expenses.
All right, the gentleman here raising your hand.
So my question is, in last 1 year, we have seen that many people have started investing in SIPs, and that money has come into market. So currently, do we think that the market is overvalued or a bubble is being created, which we saw in 2008? So currently, we don't understand when to get into the market.
The moment you have not defined your goals, you look at the external conditions to invest. Never do based on external conditions. Do it based on internal conditions. Your goals are not dependent on external conditions. It's your internal conditions. Start listing down, make investment, you will not have these problems.
Let's go to a third question now.
Now I'm looking after the goal which is 15 to 20 years apart. As a small investor, I like to have a bunch of stocks or perfect ETFs in my account.
I think a simple Nifty ETF
is good enough.
Nifty ETF will come to you at an expense ratio of roughly 0.15 or 0.2,
yes,
right? Or probably even lower, I'm not very sure. Why would you, for your basic thing, why would you look for variation? Look for variation after your goals are met.
One last question.
Basically, I'm planning for my pension after retirement. And now here we have a topic of a mutual fund. So if I compare with my pension plan and with the mutual fund, what would you suggest?
Whether it's a mutual fund, whether it's a pension plan, we never invest in mutual fund. We invest through mutual fund. Mutual fund is a vehicle which will take you to eventual asset class. Even pension funds, whether they are in form of a mutual fund, in terms of an insurance product, in terms of NPS, end of the day, they are vehicles which will let you go into an equity or like if it's an NPS, it will take you into either an equity or a corporate bond or a government security or alternate investment. So you first choose when I'm going to retire. In your case, it's going to be longer. Now, should you pick up, well, I would still encourage a step ahead and say stick to a simple mutual fund scheme. Because most mutual funds will have a lock-in period, which is fine. If you are disciplined, then don't lock yourself. Because over a period of time, we'll have more and more products coming. You will have option of maneuvering.
All right, on that note, we'll wrap up this discussion. The power of compounding, that's what we've discussed here on NSE FinWiz, powered by CNBC TV 18. I'd like to thank Gaurav and Harsh for sharing with us their insights on the topic, and of course the professionals here at KPIT for a very engaging interaction on the questions and the goals that they had in mind, and of course the viewers who have tuned in to watch this show at home. We'll be back with another episode at another office. Stay tuned to CNBC TV 18.
Today's session was very interesting. In fact, it has provided me insights into how I should go about financial planning and how much I should invest and what is the tenure that I should look at. These things were not clear to me before this session, and I think our two experts have been really helpful in helping us figure out how to go about doing our investments.
The event has been great. We never expected such an event to be held over here, but thanks to CNBC for coming here and conducting the session and providing the insights regarding the market, regarding the investment and what options we have in front of us. So that was a great event for us.
Always been a very reluctant investor, so I guess it's always nice to get some perspectives regarding the right sort of financial planning, and I really credit CNBC TV 18 for an opportunity like this.
Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.